The night was heavy with expectation, and the arena lights carried a charge that every spectator could feel. I stood near the ring, notebook in hand, aware that history might unfold before me. Naoya Inoue entered with the calm focus of a champion who knows his own power. Murodjon Akhmadaliev followed, his eyes sharp but carrying a flicker of tension. From the first bell, it was clear that Inoue had a plan deeper than anyone outside his camp had imagined. Each jab from Inoue was a test, a measurement of distance, a quiet declaration of control. Akhmadaliev tried to answer with his own combinations, but there was a subtle delay in his rhythm. I saw his corner shouting instructions, their voices already tinged with concern. Inoue's footwork cut angles like a blade through silk, never wasted, always precise. The sound of each punch echoed like a drumbeat of inevitability. Between rounds, Akhmadaliev's team exchanged hurried whispers. Their gestures were frantic, their eyes searching for solutions that seemed to vanish as quickly as they formed. Akhmadaliev himself wore a mask of determination, but sweat carried a message of doubt. Reporters around me leaned forward, sensing a shift that went beyond simple scoring. It was strategy meeting desperation, and strategy was winning. By the middle rounds, Inoue's plan revealed itself in full. He lured Akhmadaliev into exchanges, then punished every overreach with counters of frightening speed. The champion's timing felt almost supernatural, as if he knew the future half a second ahead. Every time Akhmadaliev tried to rally, Inoue's response was sharper, harder, colder. The crowd gasped with each connection, a collective intake of breath that filled the arena. I noticed Akhmadaliev's corner growing quieter, a sign more telling than any shouted command. Their early confidence had drained into silence, replaced by frantic hand signals and uneasy glances. Between the ropes, their fighter struggled to mask the wear of relentless precision. His punches lost snap, his movements carried the heaviness of frustration. The air itself seemed to tighten around the ring. Inoue's eyes never wavered, he pressed forward, patient but merciless, a predator who knew the exact moment to strike. When a clean right hand landed late in the fight, the sound was a crack of finality. The crowd erupted, but Inoue's face remained unreadable, as if the outcome had been written long before. Akhmadaliev staggered, recovered, but something essential had broken. When the final bell rang, the decision was beyond question. Inoue stood tall, breathing steady, a portrait of controlled triumph. Akhmadaliev slumped against the ropes, his chest rising and falling in heavy defeat. The judges' scores were a formality, echoes of a story already told. Reporters prepared their questions, but the silence of the losing corner said more than words. Afterward, I followed the defeated fighter's path backstage. The hallway smelled of antiseptic and disappointment. His team spoke in low voices, their earlier energy gone. One trainer rubbed his temples as if trying to erase the night's events. Another stared at the floor, lost in thought. Akhmadaliev sat on a bench, gloves removed but tape still tight around his wrists. His eyes were distant, replaying every missed opportunity. He answered questions quietly, his words carrying the weight of disbelief. "We prepared," he said, but the plan changed in the ring. It was not an excuse, but a simple truth. Outside, the press gathered around Inoue's camp. They spoke of discipline, of months of quiet preparation. They hinted at tactics deliberately hidden during training sessions. Every sparring partner, every drill, had been chosen for a reason. This victory, they said, was no accident. Meanwhile, Akhmadaliev's corner revealed fragments of their own struggle. They admitted confusion in the later rounds. Their initial blueprint unraveled under pressure they hadn't anticipated. Small injuries from camp had lingered longer than expected. Timing was off, communication faltered. A close-up view of that corner told a deeper story. Even before the fight began, unease rippled through the team. A sparring partner had pulled out late, disrupting rhythm. Strategies debated in long meetings never reached full agreement. By fight night, unity was already fragile. When Inoue executed his plan, that fragility became a crack. Each round widened it until it could no longer be hidden. Coaches exchanged sharp words between rounds, voices carrying beyond the stool. Water bottles shook in restless hands. It was not simply defeat, it was unraveling. I left the arena long after the crowd dispersed. The echoes of the night followed me into the cool air. I thought about the fine line between preparation and panic. One fighter found clarity, the other was lost in confusion. Boxing often tells such stories, but rarely with this stark contrast. Akhmadaliev's courage remained undeniable. He never stopped trying, never surrendered his heart. But against a mind as sharp and a plan as perfect as Inoue's, bravery alone was not enough. That truth hung in every shadow of the quiet locker room. It lingers still, a lesson carved into the memory of everyone who watched. For those who love the sport, this night will be retold for years. It was more than a contest of fists. It was the art of preparation versus the chaos of doubt. It was the moment a champion confirmed his brilliance. And the night another learned how merciless that brilliance can be. Inoue walked out into the night, already thinking of the next challenge. Akhmadaliev remained behind, searching for answers that might never come. The arena lights dimmed, but the story glowed brighter in the minds of all who witnessed it. Defeat can be cruel, but it also speaks with honesty. And on this night, it spoke of a plan executed to perfection. The echoes of gloves on leather faded, leaving only the memory of precision. The reporter in me knew I had seen something rare. The fan in me felt the bittersweet ache of the sport's unforgiving nature. One fighter celebrated, another rebuilt silently in the dark. That is boxing, beauty and heartbreak intertwined. Even as I write these words, I can still hear the crowd's collective gasp. I can still see the flash of Inoue's eyes, cold and brilliant. I can still sense the quiet collapse of a corner that began the night with hope. The memory is as vivid as the moment itself. It will remain long after the headlines fade. This was no ordinary night. This was the unveiling of mastery and the exposure of vulnerability. This was Naoya Inoue, the monster with a mind of steel. And this was Murajon Akhmadaliev, brave but overwhelmed. A fight, a story, a lesson that lingers like the echo of a bell.